This is the 5th video in our scientific method series. And in this video, we're going to talk about line graphs and when we want to choose line graphs. So line graphs are always a good selection if you're comparing two variables in one of two situations. One is that you're comparing two variables over a long period of time. So selection, two variables over a long period of time. Or we need statistical analysis of the data. We want to know how strongly they correlate from a mathematical sense. So the other option is we have two variables that need statistical analysis. So we're going to tackle the first category in this video. And in the next category, we're going to look at a modified line graph called a scatter plot. So for the statistical analysis, we actually want to do a scatter plot, which ends up being a modified line graph. So this video are true line graphs that are going to have a line connecting point to point. We're going to see a scatter plot. We create a line from an equation. But this video, line graphs. So let's go through an example. Let's talk about an observation and a hypothesis that we could make. And we're also going to look at how to handle some of the variables that you need, that you have to be able to do with line graphs. So I have pre-entered some data, and I'll have you guys do a practice problem 1 or some practice data next. And as usual, I'm going to select my data. Now, what I have here is the day of the week and the sales at a store. So let's say it's an appliance store. I don't know, they're selling a nice amount of merchandise. We're going to go move this, and we're going to go into our tabs and pick out graph. And I don't want a column chart. So the first thing is setup. I want to go to, again, I'm in Google Sheets. I want to go to, oh, look at this, sales versus day. There's my line graph. And let's see. I want to then go to customize. So a couple of things that I want to show you how to do here. Now, this one isn't too bad in that we're pretty close to our axis. Speaking of axes, we always want the independent variable to be on the horizontal axis, and we want the dependent variable to be on the vertical axis. Remember, the independent variable is what we change. So what we're changing here is we're analyzing our sales by day. The dependent is the resulting sales. So that's what we're measuring. That's what we are recording in our ledger every day is how much we sold. Now, sometimes we'll have our graph will be way up here and we'll have a big gap. And the reason for that is these graphs don't necessarily do what's called auto scaling. So I want to show you how to change the value. My picture is just in the way today. All right, I'm going to put myself up there. So under customize, I'd like you to click on vertical axis. And our lowest value is, I believe, 1,500. So I'm going to set my minimum value to 1,000. And it didn't really show that much of a difference on this one. Oops, I got to enter. That took or not. But what that did was it stretched my graph out a little bit. Instead of having this blank space at the bottom, it will change the scale. No, it did not take. Why did it not take? There we go. I guess I had to hit my maximum too. So I had to do my min and my max. But if you look, now the lowest point of my graph is very close to the bottom, and my bottom value is 1,000 instead of being 0. So it spreads the data out a little bit. It helps a little bit with the visual effect of the graph. I have a pretty good title, so I don't really need to change that. I have my sales and I have my day. If I wanted to do, so let's close my vertical axis. If I wanted to change my chart style, I have different choices of line charts. I have got ones that are shaded. I've got ones that are, that you can do 2 lines. But in this case, this works just fine for me. If you look down here, you can see the bar chart and you can see the pie graph. And this is a good example of why a pie chart would not be a good idea. That's just a mess. The bar graph isn't bad. We kind of get the same effect, but let's say we wanted to track this over a month. That bar chart's going to start to get a little bit difficult to read. The line graph's going to be a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to size this down. I'm going to grab my corner here and size this down. So we talked about observation and hypothesis in the last video. And if I look at my days where I have my highest sales, that's on Saturdays, and that makes sense. My hypothesis will be because my sales are higher on Saturdays because it's the weekend and more people have time off. But look at this. I have this Friday. This Friday where my sales went way up. So what's going on there? It's much higher than my other Friday. Maybe I hypothesize, I wonder why my question is, why were people spending more money on that Friday? And the answer would be, my hypothesis might be that it was a holiday. And so I go to my calendar and I look, and sure enough, that was a holiday. Everybody had the day off, and that's why I had more people spending money at my store. So let's have you guys practice. Let's copy this data. Copy, and let's do a paste. So I want to do the number of students that are absent on any given day. Now, I don't have school on Saturday and Sunday, so I want to show you an operation here. I'm going to select these two rows, and I'm going to then right-click, and I can hit delete because I don't want to do Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm going to select here, and I'm going to hit delete. So now I just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'm going to throw some numbers in here. Let's say 22, 10, 7, 9, 13, 18, 6, 9, 12, 23. Okay. Pause the video, go ahead and create this graph, and let's see how you do. Okay, welcome back. So I'm going to select my data. I'm going to choose my graph. It is already on a line graph. I like my title. Now, here's another good example. Look at this. I could auto scale this. So I want to go to Customize, Vertical Axis, minimum value, let's make that 5, maximum value, let's make that, now that one fixed right away. So now I have 5, so my scale's a little more spread out. All right, so look at this and see if you can create an observation and a hypothesis. Well, if you notice, our absenteeism is highest on Mondays and Fridays. Well, is that because maybe not everybody's sick and we have a little bit of weekend fever? So that's a possible hypothesis we could test with a survey of students. Or maybe there was a bug going around and a lot of students caught it, and then it showed up on the weekends. So there's a couple different explanations we could give here. But again, observation hypothesis, you have to know how to use these data to draw your conclusions. All right, in the next video, we're going to look at scatter plots, a specialized line graph, and how we can use things, statistical analysis of that to our advantage. All right, thanks for watching.